M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar is one of the immortals of Tamil cinema and music. Many of his songs are classics. His film Haridas, released in 1944, ran in a single theater for 2.5 years consecutively, a record unbroken to this day. Believe it or not, the great writer Kalki once walked out of a concert by Aryakudi Ramanuja Iyengar, a giant of Carnatic music. Kalki said he wanted to listen to good Tamil music, and he walked into a cinema hall to watch the movie Haridas, in which Tyagaraja Bhagavathar sang numerous songs. Bhagavatar's illustrious film career was cut short by 3 years in jail for alleged murder of a Marathi journalist. This evening, we have a right person to talk about Bhagavatar, Venkatesh Ramakrishnan, who shares Bhagavatar's love for adventure. Venkatesh is a farmer, a writer, a historian, a heritage activist, a Vastu Sastra specialist. He hails from Zamindari family of Devakote and can afford the luxury of doing just what he pleases. He has made a mark in historical fiction. He has authored two Tamil novels which are sequels to Ponniyin Selvan and Sivagamiyin Sabadam, the two great Kalki novels. He is a scholar on Chennai of 1940s. He is a social media junkie. The social media constitute the biggest invention of mankind since Gutenberg printing press, says he. He formed the Madras Local History Group on Facebook some years ago. It's now has nearly 20,000 members. The group has conducted several heritage walks and some amazing studies on Kuam and Adyar rivers. Tamil film personalities of yesteryear are one of Venkatesh's interest. His presentation today on Tyagaraja Bhagavathar will be memorable. He says Bhagavathar was the son of goldsmith, but he was an alchemist of Tamil cinema. Over to our distinguished speaker.
Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. He spoke half of what I had to speak today. And first of all, I would like to thank Mr. Madhu for giving me this opportunity. He's been giving me a lot of chances to talk. You're able to hear me, all of you?
Yeah. You're audible. Yeah.
This has become a very necessary question these days. Yeah. I am a local historian. So what is local history? Everybody knows about Delhi or Tanjore because that came in your history books. How many of you know about Chennai fully? We know about the Battle of Panipat. We know about the Battle of Takolam even. But how many of us know about the Battle of Adayar? Many people living in MRC Nagar are living on a battlefield. We don't even know that. There are so many historical spots in Madras that we don't even know about because they haven't come in our textbooks. So the onus of collecting your local history falls on a citizen who is interested in it. And especially after the occurrence of the social media, it's much easier to gather people of similar interest. If you're interested, if you're a foodie, you used to have a foodie group. If you're interested in history, a history group. A Madras group. And we were able to, our group has now grown since the last meeting and what details Mr. Madhu has, we've grown to more than 25,000 members. So at least 8,000 to 10,000 of them actively participate. So if you are on Facebook, please go and join Madras Local History Group. And we have some 16 moderators, so they would immediately admit you. We have the rarest of photographs, rarest of articles being posted there, very healthy discussions, and of recent, a lot of political discussions which are being banned. So that is a trouble that most of us are running into these days. I'll give you a small example of local history. We did a very good analysis of the Coombe River 5 years back. 72-kilometer river. We mapped it inch by inch for all wars, for people who lived there. We found out that a Burmese princess was born on the banks of the Coombe. We found about a lot of wars. The most decisive war in which an Indian defeated the East India Company happened on the banks of the Coombe. The Coombe is mentioned in the Vatican records. We found so many details because we were in a social history group. So next we came on to the Adayar group. Adayar has a lot of link to Tyagaraja Bhagavatar as well as MGR and other people. And Adayar is a 32-kilometer river. What history could it have? So then we decided to look at the history, comparative history of people living next to the Adayar. So MGR and MS Subbulakshmi. This is my favorite. So some of you who might have attended my previous talks would know of this. So what could be possibly common between MGR and MS Subbulakshmi? The man who went to MGR's movie and whistled would never go to a MS Subbulakshmi Kacheri and say Sabash, and vice versa. What was common? And just like when these two people are being analyzed, somebody comes up with the trivia saying they both were born in the same year, 1917. And then somebody else answers, both of them got the Bharat Ratna. And finally, somebody says, both of them acted in the movie Meera. MS Subbulakshmi as the heroine and MGR as an extra. Okay. So the real history that we gathered that day was Meera is the only film in history in which two Bharat Ratnas act. So we have movies in USA where two Oscars acted or something like that. But the only movie in which two Bharat Ratna, highest civilian award you can get in India, happens to be Meera. So that is how local history happens. My section of local history was 1940s. It was a very interesting period. We had anything that you do today was somehow influenced by the 1940s. You had a war. During the war, a lot of people don't know. In the World War, there was a scare that the bomb would fall on the zoo. What if a bomb falls on the zoo? All the animals would get free, and already a terrorized population would be unhappy with angry, wild, carnivorous animals going around them. So the Malabar police was called in, and the entire Madras Zoo was shot in one day. This happened in 1943. That is precisely the period that we are talking about. The people that we are going to talk about today would have read about that in the newspapers if it had not been censored. So it was a very, very interesting period. I did an article about Pudhmai Pithan last week. Pudhmai Pithan did a movie with MKT much later, so there's a connection to this. When I did an article about Pudhmai Pithan for the newspaper, I realized that Pudhmai Pithan had been asked to write the script for the movie Avvayar, the mega movie Avvayar by S.S. Vasan of Gemini. And then I also remember that S.S. Vasan had asked R.K. Narayan to write the entire script for Avvayar. R.K. Narayan did a movie, Miss Malini, for Gemini later. But he wrote the script for Avvayar. Then finally, now that we know, nobody knew at that time. Neither did Pudhmai Pithan know, nor did R.K. Narayan know that they were not the only people to write the script. Almost 20 people wrote the scripts, including Kothamangalam Subbu. And finally, Vasan mixed and matched or chose something, but nobody knew. But they must have been surprised when none of their writings came into the screen. So today we are going to talk about a very interesting personality of 1940s. You cannot talk about 1940s without talking about M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavath. And you cannot talk about Tamil cinema for that matter without talking about M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavath. The Tamil cinema talked in 1931. That is a talk. There's a lot of difference between a movie and a talking. Just like your Netflix and your, now that we are in the lockdown, we are watching Marathi films, we are watching Korean films, the same thing. So without any wordings and somebody telling you a story standing beside, anybody can watch a movie. But the moment the movie starts talking, your audience gets restricted. So when you are making a movie for entire India and perhaps abroad also, the Indian diaspora all over the world, now you are making a movie only for Tamil Nadu. So it better be a hit. And when you're making a movie like that, then automatically people thought this was an improvement, getting voice to the movie. But actually what happened was it thinned down the capital. People who were willing to invest when the movie had a worldwide reach stopped investing when it became to a small geographical area. At that point, 1934, there were not too many investors who wanted to come into movies. And for any business, capital is number one. Talent is number two. You need capital first. So the person who ensured the capital for the Tamil cinema by giving a series of hits was M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavath. He entered in 1934. And any movie he touched, it was gold. Like they introduced earlier, Tyagaraja Bhagavath is son of a goldsmith. A lowly goldsmith was not even making money. And he became an alchemist. Whatever he touched turned to gold. Whoever invested in him became billionaires in today's rupee terms. But his was a very interesting life. And I always think that luck for a person is like water stored in a dam. You can either use it up all in 10 years or you can spread it over your life. MKT used up all his luck in 10 years. He made some 17 or 18 movies totally. 10 or 15 of them were super hits. and you don't talk about 100 days. You talk about a year. Chintamani ran for a year, and Haridas ran for 2.5 years. It was like a magnet to the projector. So his movies are like a magnet to the projector, never moved out. People watched again and again. So I think I am going to share a screen for the PowerPoint. I think you need to give permission for that.
You have been given the permission.
Yeah. Odd file, huh? The rise and the fall of MKT. He was supposed to be the most handsome man, had the biggest female following, and you had men having his crop like this. Just a second, 1 second. M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar of Mayapuram. It was April 1945. World War II was happening. I guess you're able to hear me?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir. I think you need to share your main presentation screen, sir. You're sharing your side of the screen, the notes side screen you're sharing. There will be two screens.
Only notes is coming, is it?
Yeah, notes and smaller screen is coming, sir.
I'm able to see.
It is notes, but now I do the what make it. Screen of just a second, you'll have to excuse. Can you see this?
Yeah, we are able to see. Only thing is the picture is small. I think we can go ahead with this, no?
Yeah, we will manage, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
We can manage with this.
Okay. It was April 1945 and the last days of World War II. You know how big an event it was? How big an event it was. And the architect of death, the man who caused millions of deaths, say we talk about 50 million to 80 million deaths happened in worldwide in the World War II. Dozens of countries vanished from the map. Hitler was dead, and this was the headlines for 15 days on every paper. When and then it was confirmed. People saw sightings of Hitler happened all over the world, and it used to be the headlines again and again. All except Tamil Nadu. But in Tamil Nadu, another story was being followed around May 3rd of that year. M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar and Krishnan and 4 others sentenced for life. People were not talking about anything else during these days. Not even Hitler, not even a world war. I think it was been a big, the VE Day was being celebrated and it was a big flop because people are talking about the Lakshmikant murder case. You should, people of this era should imagine something like Rajinikanth being arrested after Badshah or Padayappa. It would have caused such a lot of mental trauma to the people, his fans. Nothing else could have held the interest of the Tamil public. They are being convicted for murder. As it was told earlier, Haridas had hit the theaters just 6 months ahead of that. It was running to packed 8 months and it was running to packed houses. And just because the hero was in jail, the movie would continue to run for another 2.5 years. So there are stories of Haridas, of MKT being in the central jail and listening to the gramophone records being played across in Gore Market. He used to have tears. On the other hand, his co-accused, N.S. Krishnan, really had a jolly time. There are records of him having a jolly time in the jail, the 2.5 years, though he was worried. But MKT had a real sorrowful period, both in Chennai and Bellary, where he was there. MKT was the first superstar of the Tamil talkies. Entering it just 3 years after the film started speaking, he literally laid the foundation for Tamil cinema. By giving great hits, he ensured that the industry did not shrivel in the initial days due to paucity of capital. He laid the foundation for hero worship also. It's very, very important. All your Rasikar Mandrams, all your hero worship in Tamil started with MKT, which is still a very, very important factor playing in your politics and your cinema today. But that was not his only contribution. His contribution to Carnatic music is also immense. We'll be coming to that later. As it was mentioned earlier, August 1st, 1937, he was just 4 years old in cinema. Kalki wrote an article in Anand Vigran. I sat in an Ariyakudi concert for 3 hours and 45 minutes and he did not sing a single Tamil song. It was frustrating. So I told myself, let me go and hear some good Tamil songs. I went to the Chintamani movie. So it was not Haridas movie as was mentioned in the introduction. It was Chintamani. Chintamani was perhaps the first movie to run for a year. The people who produced the movie made so much money that they built a theater in Madurai called Chintamani. Kalki would also say, what is the success for this movie? And he would warn the Carnatic musicians. This is something that we have to note today. Our Carnatic musicians, the MKT had simple tunes, melodious to the ear, lyrics were understandable, deep voices without distorting words, and the biggest marvel of 1937 was the songs of Chintamani. He also noted that children sang them, servants sang them, and rickshaw pullers sang them. How many days, just tell me, how many days it has happened since a rickshaw puller sang a Carnatic song in Tamil Nadu? Why has Carnatic music moved to one sector of the population without being spread? Which actually Kalki used to say when he was in Ghana, when he was staying, I think somewhere in Chetpet or something, a rickshaw man fully drunk in the night used to sing all the Chintamani songs by series, or 15 or something, or 15 songs or something in the same order. So Kalki knew when he got up at 1 o'clock in the night, what would come next. So we will have to think about this. Carnatic music was not the music of the elite, was not in the music of the sabhas for which you have long queues. We have people, NRIs coming over. It was not. It was a songs, Carnatic songs which were in the cinemas were being sung by even rickshaw-men. We have the evidence of some of the biggest chronicler of Tamil history. Kalki himself writes about it. And Kalki says a last word which was not taken seriously. Unless they take a cue from Chintamani songs, great danger awaits Carnatic music. I think the danger came a few years later when the Tamilisai movement started. Kalki was very apt in mentioning, was a prophet as far as Tamil music was concerned, was Carnatic music was concerned. A danger came, and now I would say less than, I may be wrong, but less than 5,000 active people listen to Carnatic music in the sabhas. A few more perhaps in the online. But I think we are at the entrance of a big change in Carnatic music now because of the pandemic. And I think a lot of people who never got a chance in a sabha are having 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, a million followers on YouTube. If you check that out, we are getting a lot of young singers who are being, perhaps follow Kalki's description of the Chintamani movie more. The prophecy came true, and with the descent of MKT, the sphere of Carnatic music shrunk. We know Carnatic music is very big. How many members of our family go to a Carnatic concert? How many of them listen to that? Airtel Super Singer on television is much more popular than a Carnatic. A cinema singer a background singer is much more popular. I mean, 1,000, 10,000 times more popular than a Carnatic singer. So that it has become to a very small sphere, and MKT's descent, I wouldn't call death, descent started this. So here we have Raja Annamalai Chettiar, who started the Tamilisai movement, who bankrolled the Tamilisai movement. And there were many singers. First of all, a lot of people don't know that M.S. Subbulakshmi herself, when you go into Music Academy today, you see M.S. Subbulakshmi's photograph. Her granddaughters sing in the prayer song every year. But M.S. Subbulakshmi herself was banned, B-A-N-N-E-D, banned from the Music Academy for 10 years. 41 to 51, she could never even sing because she was on the Tamilisai group. So the Carnatic music split into two, the Tamilisai group And because the Carnatic, the Music Academy was more intent on having Telugu songs. And they went on record in their magazine saying Tamil Vyadi. They called it a disease. People wanting to sing in Tamil, it is a disease, they said. So a big team of people. There were some people who wanted to put this typically as it was a Dravidian time, a Brahmin, non-Brahmin conflict. But we had Rajaji, Sadasivam, Kalki, and MS, everybody on the side of Tamilisai. And that is why they couldn't make it a caste conflict. And Tamilisai came up very fast. During those 10 years, a lot of very old Tamil songs were picked up. A lot of new poets like Papanasam Sivan, whose songs became very, very popular. Papanasam Sivan songs were more popular than Saint Tyagaraja's songs because they were on the gramophone and the cinema screen. They went to the nook and corner of the presidency. So the cinema was giving a power. The timing of the Tamilisai was along with the upliftment of Tamil cinema and MKT himself. So that was the time, that was what gave Tamilisai a big boost. And having Tamilisai with long tough songs, this gave the impetus to Devaram and Thirupugal being set to tune, picking up old songs, making them very, very user friendly. And this had a revolution, and MKT has no small influence on this. This is the second Tamilisai conference. I think it happened in Devakote, my hometown. You can see MKT in the, you can see in the rear. A lot of VIPs there. And MKT was mainly responsible for popularizing Tamilisai. So let's start with the early history of MKT. When we have all these startups, MKT himself was a startup from a very poor background. The power of an idea whose time has come from a very rural area. He had no scope of becoming a demigod that he was for the 10 years. And he starts in Mayavaram. He came from very humble beginnings, but was destined for his greatness. He came from this is not his photograph, this is a sample photograph of how a Achari family would be and how early they were made to join the business. So he was the son of Krishnamurti Achari. He lived in a small tiled house in Mayavaram. Mayavaram has produced giants in many fields. So Mayavaram, like Kalki or MKT, Mayavaram has produced more giants. If you live Madras, outside Madras, in the Mofussil, Mayavaram has produced a lot of giants in many fields. The baby was complexioned like gold, just like their livelihood. So people knew that this guy was going to do something big, but they never knew what it was. And soon 5 children followed MKT, and there was a lot of poverty. Sometimes his father had to pledge even the client's jewels. Client's jewels, which came for repair, had to be pledged to feed their family. And at that point, there were some support from the in-laws. So they moved from Mayavaram to Trichy. This was a very important move for MKT himself because Trichy was a culture spot. Trichy gave him the exposure that he needed. So they go to Palakkara in Trichy. After school times, he had to sit in the jewelry shop and polish jewels. And I used to sing because there was a gramophone, records were creeping in. Gramophone was a very important invention in music because it did not need electricity. You could wind it up. It makes a lot of difference. There was no electricity in 95% of Tamil Nadu geographically in 1940s. So our gramophone was the instrument that spread music all to the nook and corner of the presidency. So you could always have a gramophone playing in the street. So Tyagaraja was getting exposed to a lot of music. He also in his spare time and pocket money would go to the dramas of Kittappa. Kittappa was just coming up. This Kittappa in a female role, working as acting as Andal. So you can see, and this is the handbill that they give for the dramas. So a lot of people, this was the system that the cinema replaced. This was the system that was the main entertainment. They were like gods. Kittappa and K.B. Sundarambal used to be like gods. It used to be funny. Kittappa played the male and Sundarambal used to play the female first day. The next day it used to be the opposite. She used to be dressed as the male, cross-dressing, and all tricks were tried on theatre. And we have a lot of examples of theatre in Madras and Madras presidency, which are very important. We have Gandhi seeing a Tamil drama in 1915, before he became a Mahatma, in Victoria Public Hall. So Gandhi was not big then, so it was not mentioned anywhere. There was no publicity. Gandhi sat in the audience. Somebody said there's Harichandra drama. Gandhi loved Harichandra dramas. whichever language they were in. So he sat there, and we find this detail from Gandhi's autobiography, that he went to the Victoria Public Hall and saw Pamal Samanda Mudaliar's play on Harichandra. So plays were very influential. A lot of people saw the plays and decided that their life would be in entertainment. So it was similar with M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavatara as well. So there was a scar that he had. He had a flawless face, just like his voice. His face was flawless. He had a dimple, a lovable character, nice flowing hair, and people loved him. And there was only one scar on his forehead, and people wondered always why the scar came. So when he was a child, there was a guy in the road who used to bring a monkey in a cage and beg. So Tyagaraja, like any other child, used to poke the monkey with a stick, not realizing that the cage was unlocked. And one day the monkey also realized that it was unlocked, came out, and Tyagaraja ran for his life, fell down, and he fell on a rock, and the scar was there. But the scar seems to be very lucky for him. This is a prominent pattern of arts in the 20th century, F.G. Nadez Iyer. A lot of people wonder how an Iyer can have a F and G as a initial. Francis George Iyer, Nadez Iyer. So he was a railway guy, and he converted to Christianity much earlier. There's a rumor that Christians got promoted much faster in Southern Railway or Maratha Railway. So he joined the railways, and so he changed his name also to Francis George Iyer. Was a patron of arts. Very, very important person in arts because he was a talent scout. He could identify talent of people when they were in early teens. The people that he has introduced, Tyagaraja Bhagavatar, K.B. Sundarambal, M.S. Subbulakshmi. He was also the first hero. M.S. Subbulakshmi acted in a few movies other than Meera. He was also the first hero for M.S. Subbulakshmi. Even the TKS brothers, but he saw M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavatar in a Bhajanai Goshti. Early morning they used to go Bhajanai for the sundal and the vadai that they get. And it was an important part of the protein in the morning for hungry boys. And he picked up M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavatar for the drama. But MKT was a very, very fast person jumping from troop to troop. The Bala part. Bala part is the child role. Sri part is somebody who plays the female role. So they had this, Kalla part is one who plays the villain role. So they had all these technical names for the drama. So the first song, unfortunately, which is very lucky, was a song Amma Pasikide, in which a hungry child, the son of Harichandra, that was a role that Tyagaraja Bhagavatar played. And after the snake bite, his acting was so natural, it seems, that people started crying in the audience. Then he got permanent roles in R.R. Sabha, Raskir Rajini Sabha, and Trichy. So it was very important. And during then he jumped from group to group, and then he had his special dramas where he used to play many roles. And he was very popular in a movie this called Pavalakodi. This is the FGN Arangam, which still is in Trichy. This is how invitation for a drama used to be. If you look at the last line, Panchamargalukku idam kedaiyadu. This will be this is a social statement. Lower classes were not allowed inside a drama. This was mentioned on the ticket. Nadeshan also, Project M.S. Subbulakshmi, arranged concerts for her, and she became a very big person because of her. So one of the dramas that he acted was Pavalakodi. Pavalakodi is an offshoot of the Mahabharata in the Tamil literature. It is not there in the original literature. It is about Pavalakodi, who is one of the heroines that Arjuna falls in love during his exile. And this is a very famous drama for MKT. And this was watched by Alagappa Chettiar and not the regular Alagappa Chettiar, there was a different Alagappa Chettiar, and K. Subramaniam. K. Subramaniam was an upcoming director. He is Padma Subramaniam's father, actually, by the way. So for a reference point, they saw this movie in the Royal Theatre opposite Salt Contours in Voltax Road. They were thoroughly impressed, and they went backstage and talked to MKT and said, "We need to make a movie." Then MKT was also of the mind that he should make a movie out of this. So, but they convinced him that being a hero was much more better and dramatic than being a producer, which was tough. And so this movie was launched. So the fees that they decided was 1,000 rupees for the hero MKT, 2,000 rupees for S.D. Subbulakshmi, the heroine, who was already a bigger actress and very better known face. And there were 55 songs in this movie, 22 to be sung by MKT. Subramaniam was also a talent spot, and he would introduce M.S. Subbulakshmi, Tyagaraja Bhagavathar, S.K. Subbulakshmi, Lalita, Padmini, Ragini, Saroja Devi much later, Papanasam Sivan, D.K. Pattamal in the cinemas. All these people were introduced to the silver screen by Subramaniam. So Subramaniam has this golden head of introduction, a lucky person. So MKT gets launched by him. In fact, Kalidas was the first Tamil talkie, and this 3 years from the first talkie, we are having Pavla Kodi being shot in Madras. So Pavla Kodi, Bhagavathar played the lead role of Arjuna, and it was a very interesting movie because one of the first movies which was very well documented. Sri Meenakshi Sri Tome. The studio is exactly the Satya studio, which is now a college, MGR Janaki College. 55 songs. Music was by Papanasam Sivan with a 3-piece orchestra. Today, an orchestra once again has become 3-piece because three people with a keyboard can do the same thing. But those days, a violin, a harmonium, and a mridangam, and Papanasam Sivan. And this music was conducted by a lady, Visalakshi Ammal. So this is the place. This is the Adayar River and the Satya studio that you can see. This is the place where the Pavla Kodi was shot. Later, MGR bought it. So this is a place that connects two superstars. So these are very rare. Look, you can see how fat Krishna is. Whether it would run much later, no. They are going for faces which are well known in the theater to bring in the cinema watching crowd. A 2-hour 10-minute movie in 14 reels was shot in 2 to 3 months. There were many hurdles. So you have M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar on the right and Krishna on the left. There were many hurdles. There were partnership breaks. There were financial crises. At one point, they stopped funding. The producers stopped funding the movie so that the actors had to give back their advances and restart the movie again. So these are very rare. The movie is lost now. They had one copy in Pune, the film archives, but that got burnt. But these are very rare archives, very rare photographs of Pavla Kodi. Big sets. So this is a very important scene. There were a lot of interesting things happening in Pavla Kodi. A disgruntled partner who everybody wanted to cut off but wouldn't give back his share used to park his car outside the studio and honked whenever the shooting started. So for a movie, you don't bother about the sound. For a talkie, you have to bother about the sound. It has to be quite big, just like everybody disabled their audios right now. So you have to disable all the sounds. So he used to honk his car. They gave a police complaint that he was honking his car and stopping the shooting, but nothing happened. But he kidnapped K. Subramaniam and would not return him unless his money was given. And that was a very interesting thing that happened during the finances. These are very socially important, how the later day partnerships in movies happened. The actors used to eat their food, which were packed potlams, and after eating, they used to throw it around the studio. And these attracted a lot of crows from across the river from the Theosophical Society. And the crows were actually hindering the production by their coin. And so there was an Anglo-Indian, this is a representative photograph. There's an Anglo-Indian called Joe, who used to shoot the crows or scare them away so that the film shooting would go. And Joe, the crow shooter, was actually given a credit in the movie. The credits, the last line was Joe, the crow shooter. Another very interesting thing which happened, I'm not going into the other movies, so I'm taking a lot more time on the first movie, was that the heroine Pavla Kodi would actually have a fight with Arjuna and rush out of the palace, and she would enter a garden. So the palace was shot in the studio, and the garden was shot in Theosophical Society across the river. But the producer saw that the same sari, she was not wearing the same sari that she had worn for the earlier shot. And the continuity was lost. When they asked, she broke into tears and said that her mother had sold the sari to a man selling vessels, and she didn't have that. So the entire Subramaniam was such a perfectionist, so he had the set done again and shot the first scene earlier scene again. MKT, there was no censorship absolutely, and MKT was a happy-go-free guy. And though it was not on the script, he would kiss one of the three heroines, whenever they were not expecting it. So you could find a shocked heroine in the next shot. So MKT was really having a lovely time shooting this movie. And perhaps the first kissing scenes in Tamil cinema happened in this movie. That's a record also. So then he went on to act in Navina Sarangadara, Satyasilan, Chintamani, which went on for a year, Ambikapati, which had the most sensual scenes till then, Trinila Kantar, in which he acts as an old man and still gathered a lot of fans. Ashok Kumar, which was set as Ashoka's son, a fictional story with Ashoka's son and Buddha. This was the movie in which Ranjan was introduced. And Ashok Kumar also has MGR acting in a very small role. MGR was an extra from 1937 to 1947. For 10 years, MGR acted in 13 movies as an extra. And this was one of the movies that he acted as one. And then Sivakavi. Sivakavi was a much earlier movie than Ashok Kumar, of course. But Sivakavi was, the script was written by Kripananda Variyar. A lot of people don't know. Many top names were involved with MKT. Kripananda Variyar, Pudumai Pittan. We have a lot of MGR. They were all linked with MKT. Then comes Haridas. Haridas was the first Tamil movie to run for 110 weeks in a single theatre. MKT had become a force to reckon with in cinema and society. And he had friends. This was how he looked when he was in the peak of his society. Say, 10 years earlier, he was a goldsmith's son in Mayavaram. Now he was the most well-known face in the Madras presidency. And this is how still for the magazine is how MKT looked. People might not like his hairstyle now or his face cut now, but you can look at the charisma that is in his face. He had friends from the top level of society, big industrialists. This was one of his closest friends, Chokolal Ramseth BD, which was a million rupee company those days. And he had his friends along with Dennis Krishnan. This is Ramseth. He went and bought limousines. He went and bought motorbikes. He always wanted a motorbike when he was a young kid, but he couldn't afford one. So he got his motorbikes. He got a chauffeur-driven cars. There were half a dozen cars standing in this Trichy house, half a dozen cars standing in this Madras house. So after, there was one habit that MKT always had. He would sign only one movie at a time. So he would finish that movie and then go on to next. But Haridas somewhat went into his head, and he signed 10 movies. This is the house that he built in Trichy, and this is the invitation card that he presented. And if you note those social events, Grahapravesam and dinner, 12 noon. Who has dinner in 12 noon? So those days, even lunch was called as dinner in invitation. We find a lot of invitations in the 1940s and 30s in which lunch is mentioned as dinner. So this is at the peak of his career, 1944. He released a color ad in the Hindu on Pongal Day in the front page. It showed him seated on a white horse, and the rest of the space was filled with the stars, inside which the names of his movies under production. Bill Hannan, Valmiki, Bhakta Mehta, Rajayogi, Udayanan. He even started production. Sri Murugan. Sri Murugan was the movie in which MGR dances with Malati for the first time, which was noted as an extra. But Nambi Andar Nambi, these were the topics chosen, scripts written, the funding was ready, and he was supposed to act in 10 movies at a time. So he was at the peak of his career. He would have actually dethroned everybody else, P.U. Chinnappa or any other actor at that time, and would have become numero uno for years to come. But that is when fate plays a role. So this photo is not very clear, but you can still see how pretty the girl is. She is Rajam. Rajam is a middle-class girl who comes to MKT and asks for a cinema chance. And MKT, he trips at that time. He falls in love with the girl, says, "Why do you want actors as a heroine? You can marry me." There is no evidence right now. There is a controversy going on whether he really married her, because a house was given by the chief minister to one of Rajam's descendants. So there's a lot of controversy, but there is a fact that MKT lived with Rajam, and this was a well-known fact, but never published earlier, because MKT always acted in religious movies as a saint, as a celibate. So he never wanted that. He didn't want people. He was already married with 4 or 5 children. So he never wanted this news to come out. But there were people willing to bring out this news as well. The prince of yellow journalism, C.N. Lakshmikantham. He was a lot out. What is a lot out? A lot out is a man who stands outside and whenever somebody comes without a lawyer who's looking for some litigation, he takes him to a lawyer and takes a commission. So he had a very big inferiority complex when he saw top lawyers making hundreds of times of money that he had. He always had a feeling that he was worth much more. And he also gathered an understanding of the law and substantial contacts in his profession. So he decided that he had a mission in his life. He was about to correct society. He was going to correct evils. That is what at least he projected. But he also was making a lot of money. So he was running a couple of yellow magazines, yellow journalist magazines. So before he published an article, he would send a feeler to the person involved. See if there was a scandal about a bridegroom, he would send the article's draft a week before the wedding. He used to choose the timing perfectly. He used to really get paid very well to silence him. And he grew rich of the fear that the stories would make it to the press. In the process, he also made a lot of enemies. Many actors and actresses responded as they were meant to, by paying large amounts of money to buy his silence. But MKT and Tyagaraja Bhagavathar, this was the magazine that he ran, Hindu Nation. It's a very rare copy. We located this in Chettinad, 1944 September. He would never refer to MK Tyagaraja Bhagavathar as this came just after the newspaper advertisement in Hindu. Achari. He used to refer him by the caste. He was an Achari, so Acharyam Vellai Kudiriyam. So this was one of the headlines that was meant to taunt MKT. But how is it that MKT's articles got published when other actors did not get published? MKT and Tyagaraja Bhagavathar, N.S. Krishnan, and Sriramulu Naidu, a producer, went to the governor and submitted, the British governor Hope, and submitted a petition saying that this guy was a blackmailer. And then they checked whether the license, Hindu Nation had a license, so they ran into trouble. He was banned. Then he bought a printing press and started a new magazine. And this time he went all out against MKT. He revealed all of MKT's secrets, including Rajam, and it became a big scandal. The biggest hero for what he was for religious roles was having a second wife, was having a girlfriend, or sort of things. And this was being revealed by the magazine. And that was the point where history stands for a moment. This is how he collected. This is one of the evidences later. How late Lakshmi Kantan collects materials for writing articles. These are all from Indian Express. So these are the two friends who went to the governor and complained. This was a narrow street in Kilpauk where he was suddenly Lakshmi Kantan is going on a rickety rickshaw in Kilpauk where he is murdered. A couple of people attack him with bichwa knives. Bichwa gati they say in Tamil, no? So he was murdered. General Collins Road, somewhere very close to this, he was murdered. But such a resilient person was Lakshmi Kantan that his entrails were actually outside. His stomach had been cut. He would get up, push the entrails back inside, go to the police and give a complaint about N.S. Krishnan and M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar. But he would die in General Hospital the next day, GH. And when he was shooting, there were rumors already floating all around that MKT is going to be arrested. So N.S. Krishnan is arrested and MKT is arrested when he is in the shooting. And they go into the jail. And by then he has become a force to reckon with. And the lower court actually sentences him to jail. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar Kaidi Seyyapattar. The headline says that. So the Lakshmi Kantan case in sessions. You have thorough details, day-to-day details about this in books and magazines. Your defense counsel addresses the jury. It was jury time. Bhagavathar and Krishnan were convicted and they were transferred to Bellary jail. At that time, there were rumors about how MKT was innocent, and it was somebody, an entirely different group which had murdered MK Tyagaraja Bhagavathar, MK Lakshmi Kantan. And this was the favorite story of Randargai. Randargai always used to talk about this gentleman came from Devakote. He was a banker, Lakshmanan Chettiar, who was murdered in the Trivandrum Express. He was murdered in the Trivandrum Express, and there was always a rumor that Lakshmi Kantan was blackmailing the murder of Lakshmanan Chettiar. It was about a girl that they had fought, he would say, and he would say that there was a witness, an actress was sitting with Lakshmanan Chettiar when he was murdered, and she was spirited away. And he used to drop hints on who that actress was. And these were counter allegations or counter rumors that were going around. But Tyagaraja Bhagavathar was firmly inside the jail with no chance of coming out. So then they go to the High Court and they lose in the High Court, and then they go to the Privy Council because the freedom had not come, and the Privy Council in England a lawyer appears for him, the same lawyer who appears for Ho Chi Minh in one of the cases in Vietnam later. And the lawyer, then the court says, the Privy Council says, since India is going to get its freedom, it is not right for us to pass a judgment right now. So they didn't acquit him. They sent the case back to the High Court and asked it to inquire it again. And by the time a lot of witnesses were dead, they had vanished. And so easily, B.L. Ethiraj, a successful barrister, appears for MKT. Argued that the judges had not properly directed the jury and the evidences of doubtful nature had not been properly assessed. So he also accused that a lot of witnesses were tutored and coached, a lot of inconsistencies in evidence, and there were many loopholes. So the judges agreed with Ethiraj and acquitted MKT and NSK after nearly 28 months in jail. One of the judges actually remarks, the earlier case did not have an evidence. They had produced a knife, the Bichwa knife, in which they killed Lakshmikantan. So the judge says the knife could not have even killed a rat. Where is the evidence? The judgment was given a few months before August 15, 1947. So along with India, MKT and NS Krishnan became free. It was almost 30 months. So along with the fees, there was a big rumor that Ethiraj was a big fan of MKT and had argued the case for free. No, the fees was paid immediately. In addition, the gold plate, a gold dining plate was given to Ethiraj by M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar. Bhagavathar and Krishnan acquitted. He came out of jail. And he would actually give an acknowledgement in the papers. M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar thanks his friends and well-wishers for the congratulatory messages on the occasion of his acquittal and regrets his inability to correspond to them individually. But now the sadder part of the story comes. M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavathar thinks that he has a lot of luck, and he has been acquitted. But then the sadder part of the story starts. In these 2.5 years, the audience, because of the huge crowd that welcomes Tyagaraja Bhagavathar outside the jail, he imagines that the crowd is still with him. So he imagines that his movies would still go in a big rage, but that the transition in Tamil cinema was happening. The songs were going away. People who could not sing were being dubbed. Dubbing starts at that time by the AVM, and people who could give big orations and movies which were in which the hero speaks for 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes without a breath, were making waves. So there was no space. The space for a singing artist was getting limited. So since a lot of producers don't come forward, MKT pledges a lot of his properties and starts making movies on his own. He sings singles. This is a single that he sings on Gandhi's death. It becomes a very big hit along with D.K. Patamal in Columbia Records. So he gets weaker and weaker. He's a diabetic. You can see. Can you imagine that MKT is in his 40s, 40, 45? People already suspect that his gold color has gone and the facial color has gone and his hair has fallen out. His golden voice is gone. You have MGR on the right and MKT in the left. So you can see the transition happening. So MGR in the peak of his being handsome and MKT slowly deteriorating. So in the last few years, MKT, this is how he looks. He even goes blind in his last movie. A full detailed MKT talk would take 2-3 hours. So I'm just going through the details, a few details. MKT goes blind and he had to wear coolers to finish the last movie. He dies during the last movie, in which they show his funeral scenes as well. And by the time he has bankrupted himself and has bankrupted his friends as well, and by making movies. So NS Krishnan dies much earlier. MKT sees all his friends, his mother, all going ahead of him. In 1959, aged around less than 50, MKT succumbs. And by the time he doesn't have much of his movies, but he dies in the Madras hospital. Is taken to Trichy. This is the grave in Senkalyandapuram still there. And surprisingly, there were more than 10,000 people who attended his funeral, because a hit, it had been 15 years since he had given a hit, but 10,000, 15,000 people attended his funeral. The government actually names one of the auditoriums in Trichy as the Tyagaraja Bhagavatar Mandram. So it is to honor him. So Tyagaraja Bhagavatar today should be seen as somebody who put Tamil cinema on a solid foundation. Today, we will not even think about it because we generate crores and crores in Tamil cinema. But who was the person who made it strong? Otherwise, we might have been like a Oriya cinema field or a Marathi cinema field. We might not have become as big as Tamil films today. Tamil cinema field is as big as the Hindi cinema field today, if not for a few thousand, a few millions, but it is as strong. And the person who made it as strong in the foundation was Tyagaraja Bhagavatar. That I think is his biggest achievement. His second biggest achievement would be his Tamil Isai. He made people listen to Tamil cinema, Tamil songs, and many of them are Carnatic songs. And this gave birth to a Tamil Isai movement, which is very, very strong today. In which this was, but for Tyagaraja Bhagavatar, they could not, the Tamil Isai movement could not have challenged the Telugu songs movement of the Carnatic field. So I have a small, couple of minutes of videos of his Tyagaraja Bhagavatar. The last one is a mimicry. It is not by Tyagaraja Bhagavatar, but it is by Kali and Ratnam. It is, when do we do a mimicry? We do a mimicry only when it is already popular. I can make a mimicry of MGR or Shivaji. I can't make a mimicry of a very small time actor. So when something has become really famous, we make a mimicry. So the last song is a mimicry which happened in the early 1950s. Ayram Talevangi Abura Sigamani, of one of the most famous of MKT's songs. Got stuck, I don't know. Yes, that's good. One second. Huh? I'm sorry, it got stuck. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, once again. The video got stuck, but anyway. So
you can stop sharing and share again. Let me work.
I will share it to your. One second, I'm trying it again. Yeah, can you hear me now? Sorry. I got cut out of this.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. I don't think we can do the video, but let me come along with that. So, I always, for one, believe that there are lessons to be learned from every life, lessons to be learned from every event. So, what is that somebody should learn from M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagavat's life? An immensely talented person, an immensely lucky person. Anybody else would have just gone to the dumps in a small town like Mayavaram or Sirgadi. He could come into the city, become the heartthrob of millions, and that is the point when he goes off the track. And everything was falling. If Lakshmi Kantan had not been so powerful at that time, we would have MKT singing for the next 15-20 years. One small mistake that he doesn't care about it. That's why I mentioned those kissing scenes in Pavadakudi. Just because there was no censor, he thought he was God. The moment we think we are God, that's the problem, I suppose. But luckily for us, most of MKT songs are preserved, though not the movies. And a lot of people who acted as small-time roles in his movies became very big later. T.R. Rajakumari was the heroine. T.R. Rajakumari would become a producer much later. She would build a theater in T Nagar. She would have a movie. The only movie she'll produce, or she'll become producer. She'll make the only movie in which MGR and Shivaji act together. Kundakili, she'll make that. And MGR himself would act as an extra in 2 or 3 of his movies. So a lot of new talent was being attracted by these hits. So in more ways than one, MKT was being the foundation of Tamil cinema. That is the way we should visualize. Though he fell personally, financially, morally, and in life, and died a very sorry person. But history remembers the better aspects. We can choose the better aspects to remember him. But as a biographer, as a speaker on him, I should mention everything. But I hope history remembers him as an extremely good voice, an extremely handsome man who also created an industry in which has helped so many people, so many lives. So many people lead their lives in great success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we can take a few questions. Sir, I have one question. Even today, if you are a popular person in Chennai, you can get away with murder. Okay, sir. So how did he could not do that?
Pax Britannica. It was Britain's law. They wanted to teach a lesson. We always talk about the bad times that the British gave us, but they were very, very careful about law. A murder case you couldn't have just got. We have so many murder cases. Small. A servant is murdered by a owner, by a boss in Mylapore. That man gets hanged. We have the details of the entire case in the Hindu. It gets the first page of the Hindu, the trial. Pax Britannica, the law that the British set. He would have got away if it was the 50s. 40s, that's why he was in the wrong time. He was the right man at the wrong time.
Okay, so I understand they were very strict those days. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Ranjit, just while talking about murder, I don't think it was in Kilcock. It was at the junction between Downton and Vepri.
Yeah, the road was right, Kilcock was wrong, right?
Yeah, I think the place was between Downton and Vepri.
Okay.
There's a Sacred Heart School also on the right front. The photograph depicted the very place. Okay.
Yeah,
and
that came, I think, in newspapers.
Yeah. And Haridas was such a bold movie. I know it was audacity.
That was actually the second song. That was the second song in the video which couldn't play.
Yeah.
T.R. Rajakumari, and became a very big hit.
Yeah, I know. If you should see the movie, it is. I can't even think of watching such a movie today. Times.
In many ways, more than one. We don't talk about MKT alone in Haridas, in which Vasanta Kokilam, who would have given M.S. Subbalakshmi a run for her money. She sings a song exclusively sung by a daughter-in-law on how she's going to put her father-in-law and mother-in-law in an old age home, an equivalent of an old age home. They had a song for that. In Tamil cinema, today we talk about songs for everything. A daughter-in-law sings about how she's going to put her in-laws in the old age home. There is a song for that in Haridas.
I strongly recommend everyone watch that movie. It's a lovely movie.
Thank you, Sujesh. I think I have not seen that movie. But was it in color? It's in black and white.
Black and white. Some of his songs are being colored now by fans. You have a fan 70, 80 years after you die. I think that's the greatest. They're being colored now by computer. Some of his songs.
Ramakrishna sir, you'll have to excuse me here. Ranjit, doesn't matter to you whether Sunny Leon comes in color or in black and white.
So, Sujesh, we'll talk offline.
Now, towards the end of his life, he became self-sacrificing, isn't it so? Because the British offered him the title of Diwan Bahadur,
That
and
was
he
much earlier.
spurned it.
That was much earlier. That was when he was peak, 40s, early 40s. When he died in 1959, we have a poet Wali talking about this. Wali is upcoming in 1959. In Egmore railway station, we have Tyagaraja Bhagadar sitting outside a second-class compartment. Wali goes and introduces himself saying, I am a songwriter for Tamil. MKT says, I've heard your songs. He gets into the second class and Wali gets into the first class. So his peak and his end was 15 years away, 44, 59. 59, he was offered a Diwan Bahadur during the time of when he collected money for the World War. It was early 40s, first half of 40s.
And he was also offered the role of Shivaji Ganesan's father
In
in
Ambikapati.
Ambikapati 1959.
Yeah,
And
which
he was
refused
offered
because, he refused because I have played Ambikapati earlier. I will not play Ambikapati's father, Kambar in this. That's what he said. He's a proud man. He's a proud people have little chance of surviving in the film industry.
Okay. Any more questions?
So only one thing. Proud people have little chance of surviving in any industry, sir.
Okay. I would now request Madhu to propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you. That was quite an absorbing presentation, like Venkatesh's presentations are. I personally would have liked a few more songs of Tyagaraja Bhagadar to show us, to tell us what a great singer he was. But Venkatesh is anecdotal. You know, he's a great biographer. We got to know a lot of information about Tamil drama and cinema and the kind of ambience that existed in movie making. So I think if we had 15 more minutes, maybe we would have got even more absorbing details and so on. But thank you very much. And I think you ought to write a book about M.K. Tyagaraja Bhagadar for the delectation of fans of music and fans of Tamil Nadu. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. It was excellent. You all enjoyed it, all the bits and pieces that you presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, bye, Southerners. Good night.